So I help people relocate to Chicago all the time. And there are a few things that I've seen people overlook that have ended up costing them time, money, and a little bit of regret. So I don't want that to be you. So before you go ahead and start packing those boxes, I'm going to give you the truth about Chicago. So don't move here unless you know these things, okay? First up, the weather. The winters in Chicago are no joke. So if you're coming from anywhere from like Florida, Texas, or California, right, I'm going to need you to brace yourself because, the winters we have here are, an annual thing. And, if you're not used to that, it might be, a little bit of a shock to you, okay? But nothing that you can't get used to. All right, but on the flip side of that, right, is we have our Chicago summers where we have festivals, Taste of Chicago. We have all type of stuff going on every single, day here in the summertime. So that's really the flip side of it. So you're gonna have a ball in the summertime, and shoot, you can even have a ball in the winter time. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? The fun don't stop when it get cold, okay? But anyway, right, that is the first thing that you should know about is the weather here, okay? You're gonna want to buy a coat for the winter time, but in the summertime, right, it's gonna be bust. All right, so just understand what you're signing up for. Next, Chicago isn't a one size fits all city. Okay, please know that. Right, the neighborhoods are very hyper local. What does that mean? That means that you can go across the street and be in a totally different neighborhood and it look totally different, or you can drive 5 minutes up the road and it look completely different than what it just looked like 5 minutes ago. Okay, that's what I mean, right? You can walk 5 blocks and the vibe, even the pricing, the size of the homes, all those things will just change, completely. Okay, so it's important to know, the ins and out of the city, and just know that you don't just pick Chicago. You got to pick the right neighborhood because we have over 77 neighborhoods in Chicago, and that's not even including, all of the suburbs that are just surrounding Chicago as well. So definitely want to make sure that you pick the right neighborhood that's gonna fit you and your lifestyle. Okay. Next, do you need a car? Right. Honestly, it's going to really depend where you're located, okay? If you're located somewhere downtown or somewhere where the CTA is really active, then you might not need a car, right? You could probably get around very easily. Now, if you're definitely downtown and you need to get to the suburbs, maybe for work, then you can definitely do that. Hop on the metro. The metro goes to a lot of the suburbs, right? It makes it really easy to commute from the city. Now, right, if you're in the suburbs, I'm going to be honest with you, you might want to get a car, okay? Because getting around with public transportation in the suburbs is not as easy as it is when you are, close to downtown or if you're in the city of Chicago, okay? To give you an example, if you're in West Loop, right, you can get away with public transit, okay? But if you're looking for a neighborhood like Norwood Park or Oak Park, then you're probably gonna want a car, like I was saying, and parking and traffic, those are real factors as well. Now, here's the part nobody talks about, the cost of living in Chicago, okay? Now, of course, Chicago is a lot cheaper than New York City or LA, but don't be fooled. Remember I was telling you about Chicago being hyper local, right? I mean that, okay? So Chicago can get very pricey depending on where you are located, okay? There are a lot of different suburbs and neighborhoods of Chicago that, have some very $1 million nice homes. And there are some places where the rent does get really pricey, like West Loop and Lincoln Park. Okay, but those are some good areas, right? That, or like the Gold Coast, those are places where the rent's going to definitely be a little bit more pricey. They're more desirable areas. Now, the good news to all of that is that there are a lot of different options out there if you know where to look. Okay, so that's where strategy comes in. And if you need a little bit of help with trying to figure out what's the right area for you, then definitely let me know. Fill out my link in the description below. I can definitely help you figure that out. If you're thinking about moving here to Chicago, okay? But last and not least is the lifestyle shift, right? Chicago is a city of culture, okay? We have all different cultures here in Chicago, and we love that, okay? So you're gonna have access to world-class food, music, you're gonna have events every single weekend, right? Artists, big name artists are always gonna be coming here to perform, so you're never gonna miss out on your favorite artists. But the pace, the vibe, and even sometimes, right, the politics, different depending on, where you're coming from, okay? So just keep that in mind. You might hit a little bit of a culture shock if you've never been exposed to something like that, okay? So before you move here, right, make sure that you know these things because, I've seen people regret, right, not planning ahead, right, getting here, not really, liking the neighborhood that they've been in, right, or that they've chosen. So I don't want that to be you. So I appreciate you for watching this video, right? Book a free, consultation with me. Let's chat. Let's check about maybe what your lifestyle is, what you're looking for. We could find the right area for you, right? And get you there, smoothly and as quickly as possible, all right? But I appreciate you for sticking around, to the end of this video. And if you like this video, then you'll definitely love, right, my 10 reasons on why people move to Chicago. Okay, so check that out right here, right? But other than that, right, appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.